Welcome to Before the Show, where the amps are warming up and the stage is always set for one hell of a night. I'm Bobby,
I'm Jeff.
and we're bringing you exclusive backstage access to the artists hitting the stage here at the Vixen in McHenry. Before the crowd rushes in and the show gets started, we're diving deep, talking music, life on the road, and the stories behind the artists and the songs.
Let's go.
Our sound guy just told me not to laugh because apparently the mics don't like it. So if I just smile really big, I hope
He
everybody
didn't say not to laugh. He said don't laugh too loud.
not too loud,
Control
not too
the
abruptly.
volume of your laughter.
All right, I'm going to work on that. All right, so before we bring our guest on here today, we've got a really great weekend coming up. So Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit
Sure.
about who we're going to have at the Vixen this weekend?
So this Friday, August 29th, we have the legendary LA Guns coming into town. Looking forward to that show. Midnight Calls, a great local band, will be opening up. Saturday, for all you emo heads, we have Fueled by Emo. Great show. I think it's a $10 show. It's a low dollar show. And then Sunday, we're very excited. Red Jumpsuit Apparatus coming on this Sunday, and local band Glory Days on support on that one, who always do well for us. We love them and good friends of ours.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend.
Good
weekend at the
weekend.
Vixen. So if you're
And
interested,
Monday you have off. Don't forget, Monday you have off, so you can no excuse not to come out on Sunday.
absolutely. Sunday night shows are a total thing this weekend. And besides this weekend, we've got a couple really great shows coming up in the next couple of months as well. We're going to drop a link to our website so you can get tickets to all of these shows right there. But Jeff, who's coming up that we want to?
Who do we have? October 17th, country star Taylor Holder and TikTok star is one of the. I think he's got the largest
country audience in all of TikTok.
It's something to be said there.
It is, and I saw him last year, and he was fantastic.
He's great, young guy, very good. And then on Halloween, we have Everclear, Local H, and Sponge. Cannot wait for that one. It's a stellar lineup. We are so happy to have all three of those artists grace our stage here at the Vixen in McHenry.
Probably the biggest show we've ever had here, huh? You think? Pretty close?
It's up there.
It's up there. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
On Halloween, which we know, we've been talking about this. Like, people got kids, they got to do it, but you can come afterwards. You'll make it.
Trick-or-treating is over by like 7 o'clock.
Exactly, right? It gets dark early then. Yeah, so they're going to be good.
Right.
Anything else we got to mention?
Did we?
No, I think maybe we're good. Should we bring our guest on?
Yeah, let's bring on our guest. Our guest today is Mike Dermont from Coterie.
And before we do that, before we bring Mike on, I just want to remind everybody to like this video, subscribe. We are trying to line up all of our national acts and even some of our local ones to be here on the podcast. So be sure that you hit those buttons so you can see the next show. Ready? Let's bring him on. Hey, Mike, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad to have you on here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you both for having me.
No problem. So why big secret why we're having Mike today, because Mike has an exciting announcement for us. Go ahead and tell us what we're announcing today.
We are announcing the Coterie Yacht Rock show for raising money for Hearing the Call. It'll be held September 28th, Sunday, September 28th at the Vixen.
Awesome. And doors are opening at 1:30. The show's from 2 to 6 p.m. Great way to spend a Sunday. Tell us a little bit more about this nonprofit, and then we'll dive into this show.
Yeah, well, actually, one of my close friends brought this to me. Hearing the Call is, in a nutshell, it's a organization that helps remanufacture, redistribute hearing devices for children all over the world. They do have a local presence here in Chicago. That's where my contact is. And it's really just to help kids that have had, whether they're born with hearing issues or they developed them over a period of time in their life. It's just a really good cause. And because, being a musician since I was, 13 years old, I can probably benefit from my own hearing devices. And I figure this really aligns well with the Coterie mission.
Excellent.
So tell us a little bit about Coterie, or as I say, Coterie.
Coterie.
However you want to say it, man. There's
like
no
Coterie
right
better, but you say Coterie, you say tomato, I say tomato. I've seen a couple of those of your events. We've actually had the honor of having one here last year. I love the event, but why don't you tell people who have maybe not been to one of your events how they all work?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. And you can pronounce it. It actually is Coterie. I try to be a little bit different in everything that I do. So Coterie is just my spin on that word. And, really what it is a community of musicians throughout the Chicagoland area. And what we do is we come together twice a year. We select a theme for a show, and in this particular case, it's yacht rock. But we've done things, everything from Motown, movie themes. We've done heavy metal. We've done southern rock. The idea is to bring a community of musicians together to raise money for a given charity. The cool thing about it, as I mentioned, the theme changes at every show, as does the charity, as do the musicians. We try to bring in different musicians to every Coterie show that we perform.
Awesome. Are you going to play Baker Street? Could I make a request right now for that during
Oh,
the
I
show?
believe Jerry Rafferty is definitely on there. I haven't gone through the list in a while. I've taken a little bit of a back seat to this show only because my summers are usually pretty crazy. I've got a group of people that we call the core that support this in addition to the work that I do. And I've actually handed the reins over to Art Nunez, who is one of the main guitar players in the core, formerly of the band Sinful. Art and Chris Rhodes, drummer, have really kind of taken the front seat on this one and have been driving it to the finish line. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear Baker Street.
Nice.
How do you go about selecting your musicians that participate in this? Is it an open
Well,
call kind of thing, or do you handpick them?
it's kind of a little bit of both, right? It's definitely an open call. The Coterie over the last 4 years has really gained some attention, so I have musicians reaching out to us all the time. And normally, what I'll do is I'll put a post on Facebook that we have an opportunity, a show coming up. I ask for people's input as far as the theme. I'll get that nailed down. At the same time, I have musicians reaching out to me. So what we'll do is we open it up to everybody. And then if there's a certain sound that I want to get, and I'll give you Motown as an example. There was a certain vibe that was going on with that show that I wanted to make sure that we had, that caliber of player involved in that event. So this is very similar. So I did reach out to some people that are currently performing in yacht rock type bands, as well as a blend of individuals who have never participated and just showed an interest to do a Coterie show with us. So it's a little bit of both, Jeff.
Have you ever had the uncomfortable situation where someone that wants to play really bad and you have them out and rehearse with them and they just don't have the chops and you have to say, I don't think
You
this
know,
is going to work out?
Fortunately, no. Obviously, there's musicians who are stronger than others. I'll use myself as an example. I profess to be a vocalist. I'm not the strongest vocalist, although Dave, the sound guy there at the Vixen, will say that I am a loud singer. There's certain things I just can't sing. So we want to make sure that we have other musicians there that can support it, right? So whether you're playing guitar, your bass, you may not have the chops. There's enough musicians that are going to be on that stage to support those individuals. So we really like to give everybody an opportunity. And I think, somebody asked me this question, just the other day, have we ever had to whack a song? And I think of I want to say probably 300 songs, 400 songs that we've actually prepared for different, in total for different events. I think only one song ever got cut from the list because it just wasn't coming together. And that's something we do a little bit differently too. We don't want to take the approach that this is an open jam. We really try to come out there with a production. So we actually put a couple rehearsals behind this just to make sure it's the right music. The musicians are getting an opportunity to gel together because at the end of the day, even though it's a Coterie event, that particular individual, that musician is representing their brand. So I want to make sure that if, I'll say, give me a band. I'll say Modern Day Romeos. If I have someone from Modern Day Romeos participating in a Coterie event, I want to make sure that that individual is being represented and not tarnishing the brand of Modern Day Romeos, if that makes sense.
Yeah, complete sense. And yeah, I was blown away when we had it here last year, how well it was run and the quality of musician that you had here. It was a great show, and it's probably one of the highlights of last year. It really was a amazing
Wow.
show.
What
Jeff,
a
that means a lot.
compliment.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, man, when Specs gives you a compliment like that, you gotta take it because,
There you
the
go.
Vixen, you guys get amazing, amazing talent that come through there. So to be, cast in company like that, Jeff, that means a lot. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No, no problem. It was a great event.
So, if for us local people who follow certain local bands and love them, can you give us a little sneak peek into who we might see on stage with you this year?
Oh, wow. I don't have the roster in front of me, but let me just go off the top of my head. Of course, I will be there. So you're going to have some friction, some friction
Love it.
representation. Jeff Anthony's going to be there. If you know Jeff Anthony, the vocalist, he's in a few different projects. We are going to have Regina Karma, who is one of the hottest, best female vocalist on the Chicago scene right now. Jimmy O'Connell from Yacht Rock I'm sorry, Anchors Away, as well as the band Snapshot. We're going to have Focal Point, Robert Jess, and his music. Boy, you kind of put me on the spot. I wish I had a roster because literally there's 30 musicians that we've invited in, but I'll make sure that when we do the show that we'll have a roster of music as well as the individual performers and the bands they represent. I always try to give them a plug at the events.
Excellent. Because if you, just for everybody watching, we will have a link to get tickets to the show down below. And as we get the list of musicians from Mike, we'll keep updating that webpage so everybody can kind of have an idea of who they're going to expect to see. Make sure you're not missing any of your favorites.
Yeah.
Excellent. What else you got?
What else do I got? That's a lot of pressure.
Oh, all right. Well, then let
No,
me do this. So I have been watching you sing for a long time, Mike. Friction was one of my favorite bands back in the day. We
Thank
used
you.
to have such a good time coming out. Tell us a little bit about your background in, bands. And I know you are a vocalist, but you're playing guitar. And give us a little bit of background on you before we wrap this
Yeah.
up.
So, I said I've been a musician for many years. I should qualify that. I've been singing since, I can remember. I think my first performance, I was 13 years old. I played at a block party. One of the neighbors had a band and they were jamming. I got up there and the first song I ever sang was Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater. And, I got the bug, man, is being up there in front of a crowd and doing that and just watching the reaction was cool. Maybe it was because I was 13 years old, right? It was, being young. I think it kind of shocked some people, but it's been a ride ever since then. I had, of course, my bands in high school. One of my first guitarists, who's still my dear friend to this day, is Tavo Paul. You guys may recognize that name. He is the father of Wolfgang Paul, who's a local drum legend these days. Tavo and I have been in and out of bands, for the last 40 years. I did some music in California with a band called Incision, which was all original out of the Bay Area. And then when I came back to Illinois, I immediately hooked back up with Tavo, and we started another band with our good friend Tony Mock, who you guys may know of from the band Tom Sawyer. He's the bass player. Did that for a couple years, and then Bobby. That's when in 2008 is when I joined Friction, and we did about a 12-year run with Friction. And just I'll tell you, man, that was probably. I had a lot of great experiences, but being able to play with those guys it was amazing. Not just the music we were playing and the festivals, but the friendship that I built with Jeff Schwartz, Bill Covert, Len Gorka, Jose Guevara. I mean, we definitely had chemistry and a friendship there. So, when we wound that up and decided it was time to put it on the shelf, it was a little bittersweet. But we all stay in touch, and in fact, we're talking about doing a little reunion show here in the coming months. So it's going to be fun.
There were some great musicians in there. We've had Bill on the podcast before too,
Oh
and
yeah.
I learned a ton about his experience in music, which was really pretty impressive. Pretty
Bill
impressive.
yeah,
has definitely been around the world, and I always called him the voice of reason. Bill definitely has a way of speaking, and he has the best stories. I don't know how deep you guys got, but he's got stories all the way from David Lee Roth to Bon Jovi to you name it, Sebastian Bach. He lived the rock and roll lifestyle and actually came out on the other side in pretty good shape. So hats off to Bill Cover.
yeah.
He does. And that's one of the things I love about this podcast is you see these local musicians and you don't know their stories, like really, I mean, Bill was a great example of just, being able to bring you guys on here and really learn something about the journey that you've been on, right? Like what's motivated
Absolutely.
you and where your experience has led you. And I think that makes this podcast pretty darn awesome.
Bill
Well,
was great because we didn't have to say anything. He
Yeah,
just talked
he
the whole
just
time.
yeah, exactly.
We asked one question, he just kept going on and on. It was great.
well, and that's the way it used to be in band practice too. We'd have 3 hours of band practice, and we maybe get 2 songs, and Bill just told us stories the whole time. It was like sitting around a campfire, man. Uncle Bill's in town, kids. Come on, gather around. It was
Right,
great.
right. Yeah, he's a great guy. We love Bill.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Definitely. All right, well, are we ready to jump into our rapid fire round? Do you have any other questions for Mike before we do
No,
that?
let's jump into a rapid fire round.
All right, so Mike, as you know, we like to throw a few questions at you just to, see what some of your experiences is. So I'll start.
Go on.
What is one of the craziest gifts you've ever gotten from a fan while you were performing, or even after the show, or whatever it might be?
Oh wow. Yeah. I think I got slipped a Mickey once.
Oh,
That was I don't know if it was, but all I remember I don't remember, but I remember Jeff telling me that, one minute I was there performing, and somewhere between there and the end of the show, I decided I wanted to do a drum solo. So I got on the drums and I did a drum solo. So not only did I get a gift, the crowd got a gift too, because guess what, folks? I don't play the
you don't
drums.
play the drums.
No,
That's the best answer to that
Right,
question we've had. I
right.
love that.
yeah.
And I think that answered my question, so I'll have to find a different one. My question was, what was your biggest oh shit moment on stage? Was that it, or is there another one?
Well, I don't remember that one. So I
Okay,
think
okay.
my biggest oh shit probably involved alcohol. And by the way, that's why I really don't drink anymore, right? I mean,
Smart.
nothing ever ends good with alcohol in the story. But I remember one time I got up near our keyboardist Len Gorka, and I put my hand on his keyboard thinking it would brace me. And it didn't brace me. The keyboard's tilted. I took a tumble. It was the keyboard stayed there, but Mike went down pretty hard. So that was
Where
that
where
was a no
where
shit
was
moment.
where was that at? What venue was that in?
That was at the old Mickey Finn's out in Libertyville.
Oh, the old one. Okay, when it was
Yeah,
upstairs.
yeah,
Yeah,
upstairs. Pain in
awesome.
the ass it was dragging our equipment up those.
Right.
So, do you have a pre-show ritual, like those things you have to do before you get on stage?
Yeah, don't talk to anybody, because I'm pretty focused, and my wife Debbie will tell you that I'm a prick to be around. But I do like to do vocal warm ups. I'll do my trills and all my vocal exercises and such. But I mean, other than that, not really. I don't take music as serious today as I used to. I think there was a time when I was a hell of a lot more serious. Now, I've gotten to the age where it's like, man, this is just all about having fun. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, so I try not to take it too serious. So I guess really just chilling out now. Have a good time, go out there and kick ass.
Awesome.
What is I like to ask people in bands in Chicago this question, and it's always fun to get the answers. What is the go-to band for you local in the area that you have to see when they're playing? You have a night off, you're looking for you and your wife to go do something. You see someone on the roster that's playing somewhere. What is your must-see band in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Pino Farina band.
Yeah,
I love the energy, the music selection, the mix of original and the way they do covers. And at the end of the day, they're some of the nicest and most grounded individuals I've ever met. So my go-to is the Pino Farina band.
that's a
Awesome.
great pick. I love Pinot too.
And I got one last question for you, and then we'll wrap this up. But what's the best piece of advice you've ever received from another musician?
The best piece of advice that I ever received from another musician would have been from my drummer Jeff Schwartz, and said, "Always treat the crowd like they're your friends, and respect them. Before, during, and after. They come to see us. They pay money to see us. Treat them kindly." So that was the best, and I would pass that advice on to anybody.
Excellent. Well, how about if we wrap this up by letting you give us another little shout out for the date and time for this show?
Okay.
And like I said, we'll drop that link to buy tickets.
Fantastic. So September 28th, Sunday, from the two o'clock to 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the Coterie will be performing yacht rock music to help raise money for Hearing the Call. Doors at 1:30. Ticket information will be coming soon.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mike. You're awesome as always.
Can't wait to
Thanks,
see you.
guys.
I didn't see the last show here at the Vixen, so I'm super excited to be at this next one. So
I've
and
already got all my yacht rock gear ordered. I'll be ready to sail, man. It's going to be good.
Should we all be wearing captain's hats and doing the whole thing? Is that the whole vibe we're going to be
I'm
going
not
with?
saying you'd be wrong if you did,
All
so
right, all right.
heed the call.
We got it. Well, thanks so much, Mike. We will
Thank you
see
so much.
you and everybody watching this on our next episode. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Mike.
Have
See
a
you in a
good
couple
one.
weeks.
Take care. Peace.